All right, we're back. What's up, y'all? I'm Jared.
I'm Josh. How y'all doing?
Switching it up again.
I'm not. I'm stuck in my ways, man. But it's so good.
It's just mighty fine.
I love it. We were discussing this at the store today, man. Whenever you find good dark beer you can buy all year round, that's a nice luxury because there's not a ton of them. But this, they do it all the time. They do that all the time too. Yeah. And that's local. It's North Carolina. Well, I shouldn't say local, but it's regional. It's regional. North Carolina's Duck Rabbit. That's good stuff. Yeah. I can't drink it anymore because my lactose allergy is like you can't drink that no more. But I remember.
Well, that's good. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I grew up with a really bad dairy allergy. And I think my system just got to the point where well, this idiot's not going to stop eating this. So it's one of those allergies just kind of worked my way through to the other side. Where like he's just not going to stop.
It is a strange thing because the research I did on it, basically, I know that you can develop them later in life, and I think like you're talking about, you can outgrow them and be like, oh, okay, fine then. That's kind of cool. He tagged me in. That's what happened.
Yeah.
It's like I got the hot tag, and so now, oh God! So that's exactly what happened, man. So enjoy that for both of us.
Luckily, my stuff wasn't to the extreme of some people. I mean, I'd have like cramps and things like that, but nothing too bad intestinally.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Some people would have to deal with.
Yeah,
so it's like, but at the same time, my stomach was like, this dummy is just not going to stop eating ice cream, so we're just going to have to learn to live with this.
Enjoy. I can dig it. I think that's what's going on too. And I'm with you. Mine's incredibly, on the scale, it's extraordinarily minor, but I don't want to be a fart machine while we're doing the show any more than I already am.
Yeah.
So how much worse could it get?
So, man, my big story of the week that isn't that big of a story because it's a week after the movie came out. That doesn't matter. It never stops me.
No, absolutely not.
Was I went to see Christopher Robin. I was really interested in it. Seeing the trailers come out is probably back around Christmas. I was like, oh man, this is what we've been waiting on. Because when the trend started of doing the live action Disney movies, that was the one that kind of thought, well, how are they going to do that? And they did it in a really cool, interesting way. And it was one of those that I think I went in with really high hopes for it. And it's not to say that it was bad. It's just, it wasn't. It was good, not great kind of thing. It feels like it has that kind of hook kind of vibe where how else do you tell that story other than Christopher Robin grows up, has to go back to the 100-acre wood. To me, it felt much going back to Never Never Land, having to, put some stuff in check. And when both of those movies, it feels like kind of the overall theme is like, I ain't getting old, a piece of crap. And they're like, yeah, we got any solutions? Nope. It's just getting old to drag. This is a movie about it.
This is a movie about it.
And if there is a solution, it has that kind of, Roger Daltrey-ism of you have to age. There's nothing we can do about that. I'm going to age, but growing old, that's a choice. And maybe the movie wasn't trying to say that, but that's what I took from it. So at the same time, it's definitely worth a look. Go check it out, and I think you'll dig it. And it did it in a smart way. What I was getting at a minute ago is you can't spend the whole movie in the 100-acre wood and have it really be something. They weren't going to do I think part of me kind of thought maybe they would do some of the old famous scenes live action, like the rain cloud, and they kind of do their version of the getting stuck in the hole, but it's with something else that you wouldn't expect and in a different way. So, but I liked it enough to say it's definitely worth going and checking out and seeing.
I'm looking very forward to it. We discussed it, that it's just kind of it's totally what you just said a moment ago, man. When you see the live action Disney stuff come out, and it's like, man, if they're gonna do Winnie the Pooh, man, it would be great if they would just have old looking toys. And it's exactly what they did. So it's very much what you said. It's exactly what you would hope it would be, and that's just awesome because I don't need Obi-Wan running around with the animated Winnie the Pooh. I haven't seen it yet because it's kind of strange. My mom is a huge Melon fan, and so we grew up with Winnie the Pooh, and it's very cool. And we want to go see it, but the thing is, man, my mom's hearing is up and down, And the theater anymore, just sometimes I'm okay with it, sometimes I'm not, because my eyes get all crazy.
Carrollton's, if you have hearing problems, you won't have to worry, but they blare it so bad, it's going to get distorted.
Yeah, it just gets all blurry. So we're huge subtitle people. So and I talk about it on here all the time, but it really is true. If you enjoy DVDs, you can get one for the cost of a movie ticket. Blu-ray, you got to pony up a little more. But if you're okay with the DVD, it's like, man, I'll just wait till it comes out. And I'll put the titles on it, and we'll be fine and dandy. And then also, it's dumb, but what I do is if I'm watching a movie and it's messing with my eyes, all you do is just turn a lamp on, and it's okay. It doesn't mess up the screen, and it's like that's enough, man. So I'm contemplating whether or not I want to go, because I definitely want to go, but it's like it's that midpoint of like, oh, how do I do this? So I haven't decided yet. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to see it, and I'm glad you dug it.
It's a good watch to go check out, and it's really and it's one of the ones that I haven't been there for all of the Disney live action movies. I thought Maleficent was good.
Yeah, it was fun.
And this one, and I was interested in seeing some of them, but some of it felt kind of like, well, if you're just going to do a one-for-one of the animated, then I'm probably just stick with what I already have. But the one that everybody's losing their minds over, and there was a trailer for it before this one plays, but I was just never into Mary Poppins. Yeah. Mary Poppins was not my jam. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about this one is it's not a remake, it's a Mary Poppins Returns. But I just, people in the theater I was in were clapping for it and everything, and I was like, just not my bag. So I don't understand the excitement that one's getting. I think it's like Christmas or Thanksgiving one. It's going to be one of the holiday movies. It'll make $1 bajillion, but I just never was into that one at all.
Yeah, Mary Poppins has never really been my thing either, man. So I'm kind of with you. I don't think I would have jumped for joy over that one either.
And it was made years before I was even born. So, and maybe I just kind of tied Mary Poppins into being Sound of Music too. And it's not that I don't have a problem with musicals. It's just Sound of Music was never my jam. Yeah. So and oddly enough, I like Julie Andrews. Weird, but never got down with that one. And that they're doing. I guess that'll be the next one coming out. I was like, nah, I can miss that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's up and down. Like some of them are cool, some of them are like, like what's the other one that was like Mulan? Seems very, very cool, but if they're going to go hack that story up and start chopping characters out of it, it's
just don't bother.
Yeah, there's no point. It's like, well, that's not the same. I mean, I'm glad that it was weird because it got such a good push is maybe not the right word. I'm in wrestling mode, so I'm thinking push. It got such good publicity for actually hiring people from China to play the parts, and then you take somebody made a great point about this where it was all like, I'm sorry I don't remember the character's name because I suck, but the guy that has a crush on her when she's a dude, and then is like, great, she's a girl, it's awesome, and it's all like, wow, that's like the first LGBTQ icon in Disney history, and Disney's no, come on, that's ridiculous, you're stretching, and maybe they were stretching, but you know what, if people get joy out of it, what's the problem? And the point is, ultimately,
I thought that was their deal.
I thought this was very funny. You've taken that character out of the story now. So I saw somebody's reply that was all like, you do realize that you just admitted we were right the whole time, right? And I'm like, yikes, that one hurts, doesn't it? Oh, no. Stupid internet with everyone being able to comment on everything and point stuff out. It's like, yeah, we were right the whole time. He was into a dude and you didn't want to admit it. And now it's like, you guys are idiots. He was bi, basically, is what they were saying. He's like this bisexual icon. No, you guys are crazy. And then you cut him out of the movie, and it's like, well, thanks for the exclamation point, the confirmation. And I'm like, well, that's just an awesome attitude to have. Good for y'all.
It sucks when you're lying to somebody's face and they tell you.
You can't just come out and say, no, sorry, there's customers over here that we won't want to offend. Yeah, but we're customers and you're offending us. That's your problem with trying to not offend customers. Everybody got the same money, man, so if you want it, great. And if you don't, that's okay tue, but just own it. Just own it.
It just seems right up Disney's alley to cater to that audience. What I feel like they get a lot of flack for doing it, so go ahead and do it. And in Beauty and the Beast, their live action version of that, of LaFond, the guy that's hanging out with Gaston, that was all of Gaston's backside in the original, and I thought it was pretty clear what he was, and they really took a lot of flack for him being gay in the live action ones. Like, where have y'all been?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is like, how in the world could that not show you that whatever you do, you're going to get it wrong? Mm-hmm. And ultimately, how can the history of Disney movies, how in the history of children's programming, can you not know that little kids don't care? They don't care. So when mom and dad freak out about, well, I don't want my youngins being influenced, it doesn't work that way. And this is another great point that people make all the time. The planet of entertainment, filmed entertainment, is chock full of heterosexual love stories. And yet, homosexuality persists. So talk to me again about influence. Talk to me again about how you're magically going to flip a switch in somebody that ain't no switch to flip. It's ridiculous. And you're going to catch hell for it anyway. But look at it this way. If you catch hell from the moms and dads that are so mad you put, I forgot his name too, but if you're so mad about Beauty and the Beast, it means you saw it and I got your money anyway, so it's too bad. But on the other hand, with Mulan, that hasn't come out yet. You don't have their money yet, and that sounds cruddy, but what can I tell you? Money is the ultimate end of the game. So when you get down to the crass nature of, do you have the money or not, that is the ultimate point. If you're going to take crap for it anyway, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And ultimately, my main thing is little kids don't care. Little kids want to go see the story. They don't care. And if you're making a live-action Mulan for people like me, that I didn't really grow up with Mulan. It was way after or like prime time. But I always liked that story. And we're going to go see it anyway. I don't understand that. It's like, you're not... I just can't believe that... I think that stuff is silly and it's overblown. And a lot of times, I think things like that are done to ramp up promotion. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, Maz. I don't know if Mulan was on the, maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't, and they needed some attention, or I'm not sure what it is. But Beauty and the Beast I never saw, because I saw that animated 800,000 times, and it's not necessarily my favorite. I'm not a Lion King guy either. I know that's sacrilege, but again, that was right when we were graduating school. Yeah. They put it on every day. It's just not my favorite.
I feel like it got worn out. Just it played out is what it did. Of the ones they've done, the live action stuff, I haven't seen enough of them, but I liked the Beauty and the Beast animated version so much that I was like, I don't need a live action one.
I understand that.
I was tempted to go see Cinderella just because that's a cool enough story.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Kenneth Branagh, but it was one of those that I dismissed. And the Jungle Book was one that was like, why mess with a good thing? And but at the same time, everything I've seen I've liked, so I'm not trying to dog it too bad. But but that's of what's scheduled to come out. I think it's Lion King is definitely happening, and then is Mulan set to go, or is that just still?
They're so back and forth on it now. I'm not sure. I think it's
because Mulan, like what you're talking about, that was one of those animated ones that got all this praise and love that I was like, I guess I just need to go back and check it out again, because I just did not come away loving it as much as a generation behind me did.
I can dig it. It probably took that long for people to catch up. I mean, be honest, Mulan was Wonder Woman 20 years before Wonder Woman, so it's just that's a big part of that story, and maybe we weren't ready to talk about that then. And let me rephrase that. I think it was. I haven't seen Wonder Woman, so I just know what I read about it, and I know that is like me and a bud of mine were discussing that, and she was like, well, so many of the reviews for Wonder Woman are just because it's a woman, and I'm like, that's the reason I hedged all my bets on the reviews being good, because you knew there were going to be enough of those reviews alone to make it good. The reviews for Wonder Woman weren't good. The reviews for Wonder Woman were great, because on top of all of that, I'll say it because I think I have to, you're going to get some people that legitimately liked it too. That's always where you can cut that. Oh, it's people just being politically correct. Now, movie reviews only exist to push bottom lines. It's simple. That's it. It's the reason that now, all of a sudden, the most famous name in movie reviews is the thermometer. And that's because crowds get a say. Nobody cares about A.O. Scott. Nobody cares about Gene Shalit. Nobody cares about Roger Ebert. Nobody cares. It's the thermometer, which basically means when you go see it, your review is worth as much as the critic. And there's nothing wrong with that, because your review is worth as much as the critic. If you like it, great, and if you don't, that's okay. But the trick with the thermometer and things like that is that you have to understand all those reviews are not real people. And all of those reviews are even people that have seen the movie, and not all those reviews are people that are not being paid by the company that made it.
Yeah.
So it's not just your influence, it's the studio's influence. So of course they can run the score up. It's like if you ever see something that you cannot believe, I can't believe the thermometer's at 97%. Well, most of those, maybe not most, there's a good chance that a lot of that is the studio running up their own score. That's how that works. And don't get me wrong, because back in the day, it's not like it was foolproof. All you do is cut Roger a check, and who's to say he doesn't give you a better review? If you know, I mean, hell is real. It always has been.
Yeah.
But that's my thing with I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. I just do not care, and that's why. Is it's like user reviews are fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, how do you know all these are real? How do you know any of these are real? It's a very stupid tirade.
And that's what I was thinking, you know, as watching the Christopher Robin and leaving. And to me, maybe I felt it was really comparable to like a Hook type story, and it made me think, like, well, why haven't, of all the movies that are announced, I think, you know, that they're going to get the live action treatment. It's like, why haven't they got around to Peter Pan? Then you realize, well, they've done it 1,000 times. First of all, Hook. If you're going to do a sequel, I mean, that's the way to do it. And it was just a few years ago. I wish I could tell you any of the actors that were in it. All I remember is the dude from, oh God, one of the Lord of the Rings movies was Captain Hook in it, and it was awesome. And so if you're not going to improve on that version that came out, I think it was around 2003 or 4.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're not going to improve on that one.
Yeah,
so I think that's one reason why they said, well,
there's no point.
yeah,
We talked about
that one's
it,
been done.
The last time they did live action, it was the little mini series that Allison Williams, thank you for reminding me of what her name is, Allison Williams was in, and that's not a bad idea. If you're going to do another live action one, man, go TV, go full on musical. That's great because, like you said, man, if you drop another live action one in the theater, that's what you're going to get compared to, and that's going to be difficult because that sucker was really good.
Yeah, that's you know, so skip that one.
Yeah.
But I think a cool live action. And speaking of a character that's been done 1,000 times, and I think has another movie coming out, but if Disney did a live-action version of their version of Robin Hood, or Sword in the Stone, those two I think would. I'm basically picking some of my favorite animated movies that they haven't done.
I'm the same way. That's all I do too.
But no,
wrong with that?
If you did a live-action Fox running around as Robin Hood, I guess people would say, why more what I would say, why mess with a good thing? But I just think if you did it with Jungle Book, try to do that. I think that would be a neat idea. And Sword in the Stone, talk about a movie that's been done 1,000 times, but do it your way live action.
Yeah, they've left it there for a long time.
Yeah.
Get back to it.
So I think of the stuff that I would have done, that's probably the ones that they've just kind of skipped over. Like maybe they'll get back around to them.
Yeah, man. I read somebody's post on something 1,000 years ago, and it was actually about when Mulan was announced, and it's like, man, if you want to do off the beaten path Disney stuff that deserves the live action treatment, you should do Atlantis. And I agree, because Atlantis was amazing, but what I'm hoping will happen there is that someone will write the movie treatment and it'll get passed on, and then it winds up being a TV series somewhere down the line, because you just take this element, and it's exactly. People get mad when I say this because they think I'm lying, and maybe I'm incorrect, but it's not a lie. I just don't know it for a fact. But I have this theory that Joss Whedon's Firefly existed a long time before it was Firefly, and then it wound up getting mangled and put into his script for Alien 4, which I'm not suggesting you watch Alien 4 because, boy, I love the Alien stuff. Alien 4 was bad. But the best stuff in it is the crazy crew of space pirates who hop around from place to place and wind up finding their Ripley. It's like, this is Firefly, pre-Firefly.
Yeah.
So just in that sense that these ideas wind up here and here and here and here. Would love it if someone wrote full-on movie treatment for Atlantis and Disney passes, and that's okay because 9 people saw Atlantis, so I get it. But it was awesome. That was a really good one. And part of it, to be fair, or not fair, to be honest, is the animation style in Atlantis was so different and so cool. There's nothing else looked like that, so it was kind of awesome. But TV series, Netflix, I'm cool with any of that.
Fox and the Hound.
Fox and the Hound's too sad. If you do a live action Fox and the Hound,
it would make you want to open up a vein.
Oh yeah,
but I think it'd be bold.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true.
It would be brave and bold and but
I thought about that when you mentioned the Fox Robin Hood. I'm like, Fox and the Hound, but you would definitely need to know that you're going to see Disney drama because despite what some people think, Up did not invent that stuff.
Yeah.
Up is not the first tearjerker of the animated movies, but you've seen it.
Yeah. Don't. I wouldn't do Bambi, but I would do Fox and the Hound. I think that would be more what would suit the live action style that they're doing now. But I think Bambi's a bigger character, so that's probably what would get done.
Yeah, man.
But I think you would run into the deal why you don't spend the whole movie in the 100-acre wood. Is like after a while, it's just kind of like we could just go home and watch this.
Yeah, man. It's weird. It might be a weird hop, but we made it earlier, so we'll take you there now too. And it was the idea of staying in the 100-acre wood for an hour-and-a-half movie. And I was saying that was the problem with Aliens versus Predators. People thought that's what they wanted. The discussion was that Robert Rodriguez's Predators, with the S on it, is about the only Predator sequel.
I really, really like.
Yeah, it's about the only Predator sequel that really is like, it's not that, you can watch the rest of them, it's okay, but that one is a hard recommendation, like a firm, you should watch this, you will dig it. And the point I was making was because it's the only other one where the human characters are actually given anything to do.
Yeah.
I know it seems like a good idea.
About.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea to have the aliens and the Predators fight each other, but it goes back to some of the first shows we did. When you call a movie Batman versus Superman, it means the fight scene is all you've got in mind. And there's a reason that movie is a clunk. Well, I'm assuming there's a reason that movie clunked as hard as it did. I don't know anyone that liked that movie. The only positive thing that came out of it was Wonder Woman, that she got her own movie, and people were like, wow, this is really dumb. Yeah. And that's always been our problem with it anyway, is you don't call it Batman versus Superman. You call it Trinity. You kick off the Justice League appropriately. You'd be better off. You could release the exact same movie if it had a different title, but when you call it Batman versus Superman, you kill yourself in multiple ways. One, you're clearly establishing a pecking order, which that's Warner Brothers. Everyone knows Batman's the priority, which that's why people got so mad about Justice League. Apparently, he gets punked the whole movie, and it's like, well, what can I tell you? Yeah. But you call it Batman versus Superman, you establish a pecking order. You call it Batman versus Superman, but you put Wonder Woman most prominently on the poster. Not only have you established Batman is more important than Superman, you've established both of them as more important than Wonder Woman, and that's a huge mistake. If you're going to promote the movie with that character, if she's going to be in it in any capacity other than a cameo, you don't have to call it Batman versus Superman versus Wonder Woman, because then you still run in the order thing. Just don't mention any of them. You can superimpose that little WW on top of the Superman Batman logo you were so proud of, and just cut, I think it was Matt Fraction that wrote Trinity. Just cut him a check. Call it Trinity. That would be so much cooler. It would have been so much better.
I'm sure movie rights were already signed away when, or who knows how that works. But talking about the Predator thing got brought up because there is another Predator sequel coming out that even Shane Black has directed, and there's just something about it that I just can't get up for. And I think, to be quite honest, is when you see the trailer, to me, it feels like they are leaning pretty heavy on that Predators Robert Rodriguez sequel. Like, it feels like y'all kind of ripping my dude off a good bit, just because it looks like almost the same daggum thing.
Oh, man.
To me. Now, that's just me. And that's supposedly what they're doing is like not acknowledging the other sequels that happen, is they're going to pick up where the first Predator left off. It's like, well, isn't that what Predators did?
Yeah, I thought that's what Predators did.
And that sounds familiar. But in my deal with Aliens versus Predator was a lot of fun to go see the one time, but it got way too much of a run than it deserved. It should have been over after the first one. I think they got like 2 more movies after that, and I was like, it wasn't that good. It's like Requiem and something else. But it just doesn't look like it's going to be one of my jams, and I hope to be surprised. I hope to be proven wrong, but I don't think I will be. Just because the Predators, that version was just really good in that it wasn't set on Earth. That you could tell it was some other planet, and it's done in a really cool, fun way, and I just really ended up liking that movie a lot more than I'd expected to.
Yeah.
So, especially after Predator 2, nowhere to go but
Woo,
up.
yeah. It's a heck of a kick out there, buddy.
So, yeah, but just something about everything I've seen so far with this one is, it was one of those trailers that everybody was losing their crap over after San Diego, and I was like, I'm just not feeling this one the way everybody else is. I don't know what it is they're seeing that I'm not, but to me it feels like it leans pretty heavy. It feels to me like Terminator 3 tipped that cap to Terminator 2 way too much. Even down to the opening is almost shot for shot Terminator 2.
Oh,
Going to, I'm talking about going to the bar and Arnold getting all this stuff and
God.
gets another motorcycle and gets his jacket and you hear the there, and he throws the glasses on and there's this one of the few jokes in it is there's like the Elton John stars, and you're like, but down to almost the times that things happen in Terminator 2. In Terminator 3, like they have to shoot their way out of a cemetery, similar to shooting their way out of the building with Miles Dyson, and that whole thing, and even the heel Terminator brother was all liquidy, and she had her own weapons in this thing, and that was kind of good, but not that cool. So yeah, but it just reminds you, like, sit down and watch Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, like, man, Terminator 2 was good. Maybe we should just watch that.
Yeah, like half the movie is, we're sorry, it's a mistake to make another.
Yeah, they tipped that cap way too hard. And I think that, to me, that's the feeling I get from this Predator Shane Black directed. It looks like they were really going to remind people, man, that Robert Rodriguez Predators was pretty damn good.
You should watch that again, man. It was
Yeah.
good.
Go check it out.
Yeah, man. It's interesting when movie series go on so far that it's like the new version of the sequel is, I guess the example I'm using is going to be like Creed. Because obviously it's a sequel and you're going in a different direction, and it's kind of like, all right, that's cool. But I mean, the disconnected ones are a pain in the butt where it's like, no, this has nothing to do with what came before. And I get it. Sometimes you need a straight up reset. Sometimes you need that. But that's weird that you want to pretend that, that movie that we're praising, that we're basically trying to be, we're pretending it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's messed up, man.
Turns out, wait a minute, it did.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, I understand the 75 sequels whenever you...
And of the movies, I mean, Predator, Alien, Terminator. I mean, of the three, I mean, that's my jam. And I'm the only person I know that liked Terminator Genesis, and that will probably make you question my opinion on all movies. But I thought Terminator, was it Evolution or whatever they call it?
I haven't seen any of them since 2, man. I'm sorry to say.
The one after Rise of the Machines, that they did what they should have done with Rise of the Machines, is like set one in the future, and it wasn't great, but it was done in a cool big bad way, and it almost came to me. But anyway, the Christian Bale, good for you, Terminator, that some people liked, some people didn't. I thought it was fun, cool to watch.
The preview was great, and that was during the summer of Trent Reznor getting huge score paychecks, because he was the preview to that movie was The Day the World Went Away, and I think it was around the time he had either done the soundtrack for Social Network and was doing Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It was somewhere in there, because I mean, he does all of the Fincher stuff. He did Gone Girl, he does him and crap, I think the guy's, I was going to say Atticus Finch. I think it's Atticus Ross, I think is the guy's name. But Trent 9 Inch Nails and To Kill a Mockingbird do the soundtracks for all those.
Well, when did that happen? I was like, what?
But yeah, man, it's like, it's not it. It's Atticus something. I think it's Ross. And those are all amazing soundtracks.
Salvation.
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't have thought of that ever, but when you say it, dude.
Anyway, when it comes back, I have to get it out.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, so I totally dig that. What were the choices? Alien and Predator and Terminator?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an Alien guy, and see, I'm with you on that. I wonder, if we get people that are into each one of those little clubs, if they would have like, I wonder if Predator people like secretly love the second one or don't want to tell anybody, or it's like, nah, man, Aliens versus Predator Requiem is the best thing ever. You just don't know because it's not your thing, and I could dig that because I'm like that with Alien 3, and get lambasted for it every time I mention it. But I'm going to tell you something. Alien 3 is quite good. A guy named David Fincher directed that, and I borrowed it from my buddy Gene Pugh 1,000 years ago. I borrowed the VHS from him and watched it, and I was old enough, I was 13 or 14 or something like that, and I started paying attention to things to like who wrote it, who directed it. So David Fincher, okay, file that away. And then eventually, boy, that one came up roses, didn't it? It's just like, I love the third Alien. It's not as good as the first one. I don't think the second one's as good as most people do. I think that when they released all the director's cuts and all that stuff, the first one's okay. The third one is kind of fun. The second one doesn't need it. The second one's fine the way it is. It's cool. I just don't. But I'm like that with James Cameron, pretty much top to bottom. We were discussing True Lies earlier, and True Lies is, with no competition whatsoever, my favorite James Cameron movie by 1,000 miles, because I love that one.
It's a good movie.
I love that one. And I like the second Terminator a lot too. I really do. But it's just, for the most part, Titanic wasn't for me, so I don't hold that one against him. Avatar, I have long thought, is one of the most overrated things I've ever seen in my life. I still don't understand the gush fest for that movie. I just don't.
Jam.
I don't get it. It's like, there's just nothing. It's like that one and WALL-E remind me of each other in the sense that people talk about these things like they're the most revolutionary concepts in the history of science fiction. I'm like, what? People getting fat and watching TV? That's what Harrison Bergeron was about. It's like, nah, and it's okay. It's cool if you like WALL-E, but I didn't. I'm weird. I'm very mean about my Pixar stuff, man, because I think that WALL-E, I think that Up, what's the other one I just think is so overrated, and they're not bad. Neither
Brave.
one of those is bad. I love Brave, actually. I thought that one was
I'm
really
just
good.
thinking of Pixar movies right now.
Brave ticked me off because so many of the pro-woman things that people say about Frozen, Brave beat them to it, and nobody talks about that one. Nobody talks about Brave. Brave I thought was actually quite cool. I don't remember. There's another one that's just whatever. But Ratatouille, I'm in camp Ratatouille. All the people that worship that movie, I'm with them. That's my favorite one too. Including and I love The Incredibles, but Ratatouille's my favorite.
All right. Man, it's I was still thinking of overrated stuff.
I should be able to pull that out. It's in there somewhere. I just don't remember which one it is.
Up was one of those ones that just got all of this hype, and you go and you sit down and watch it, and you're kind of like, this all this is going to be?
Up to me.
What did people see that I'm not seeing here?
Up to me was the modern version of Full Metal Jacket, which sounds whatever it sounds
After
like.
the first 20 some odd minutes.
That's all anybody cares about. Full Metal Jacket as a short movie that takes place at Paris Island, that's all anyone cares about. And the rest of it's good too. It's just no one ever talks about that. But Up is quite literally him walking in the house and the pink fading out of the top corner, and that's it. That's all anyone cares about. That's it. But it's just so sad. And I'm like, yeah, whenever you have a relationship that is nothing but high point, dead, that's how that's going to work. There's a reason you don't do that in very many stories, because then whatever comes after, you don't care about. Would you like an example of what I'm talking about? It's called The Rest of Up. Nobody cares about anything in the rest of that movie except Seth Rogen's dog. That's it. That's all anyone else cares about. It's just like, there you go. It's cool. You got it that one time, and I'm glad you dig it, but you got nowhere to go now. Anyway, I'm with you. I don't know what it was, because it wasn't Cars, because Cars is designed for something totally different. Cars is the...
I could just tell I wasn't into that.
Me neither. I've never seen it, but it's just, the thing with Cars is that you can tell that was the one that was made to be made all the time and sell stuff. Sad to say it, though it is, I think that probably one of my ones that I would be like, because I really enjoyed it, but I just didn't lose my mind over it, was Toy Story 2. I like Toy Story 2, but I didn't like it on episode the third one, and I don't know, man.
I think you can stick with the first one on that one, and the part 3 is fine and good movie, but only thing I can tell you for sure and remember what happens in part 2 is Woody gets a girlfriend, and I know there should be more to the movie than that, but that's long and short of it.
Yeah, man.
And the third one's definitely worth checking out, but it's it has that same kind of theme of I ain't getting old a drag. Got any solutions? Nope.
Alcohol. That's it. That's the thing with Pixar that nobody wants to admit is they're Disney movies for people that are old enough to go and buy booze after they watch them.
And you need it.
That's it. And it's like, that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with catering to those of us that like Disney movies, and alcohol, so good for you.
I didn't dig the monster movies as much as the Monsters Inc. and the Monsters University. I didn't see.
Me neither. I've seen the first
I
one.
liked them because of who was in it. I liked them
Yeah.
for Billy Crystal and John Goodman.
Yeah, I can dig that.
But the story was not my jam.
You mentioned John Goodman, man. I mean, this is silly, but I'm going to take a sidebar for a moment. I was watching, I've been telling Jared I've been watching the old Vince WCCW documentary, which we both love. Everybody else says Legends of World Class is better. We disagree. We've discussed it many, many years that I like that one better. But you get to the match stuff, and there's a 6-man, and it's, gosh, I should never remember who it is. It's Kevin and David and Iceman King Parsons. I love that name. Iceman King Parsons always had a cool look and a cool name. Iceman King Parsons. And they're wrestling the Freebirds. And it's so awesome because Buddy Jack's out there, and Buddy Jack Roberts looks like Buddy Jack Roberts. And Michael Hayes looks like Michael Hayes, but he's super young, long flowing blonde hair. Michael Hayes, he looks like Leon Russell. And it's so honest to God, it looks like Kevin and David Von Erich wrestling Leon Russell and John Goodman. Because Gordy's got the short little perm and he's huge and looks like he's 12 years old in the face. And I'm like, this is awesome. I was so into it, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to Pixar stuff. Sorry, John Goodman reminded me that I'd seen him wrestle this week.
I mean, I just going through the checklist of movies, and that's just, I wasn't calling Brave one of the overrated ones. I was just trying to think of the movie.
Suggestion. No, I totally heard it that way. You did good, man.
Because that's one I think you can sit down and have a good time with that one.
Yeah, I agree. I love that one.
I think A Bug's Life gets overlooked a ton.
Yeah, it's interesting that B movie has the cult following it does, but Bug's Life doesn't get that love. I guess you need incest between Jerry Seinfeld and some lady.
Yeah. But that's but still the top of the list will always be. I'll stick with Incredibles 1 because if you've seen Incredibles 1, you've seen Incredibles 2. It's my review. Which, hey, if you're gonna remake a movie, or if you're gonna make one movie, make the same good one, twice.
Yeah, man.
But
yeah, I'm with you. I love The Incredibles. I haven't seen the second one yet, but it's something else. We might have talked about it on here, and if we have, I apologize if you already heard this, but I'm bad about repeating myself. That's the one I'm waiting on for them to stick on the Disney double Blu-ray, because it's like, man, I was so excited. Like, man, I'm going to go get my copy of The Incredibles because I miss it and I want to see it. And I got very lucky, and they ran it on television, which is not the same, but at least I could watch it.
Get enough of it.
Exactly. And then for some reason, it was like, no, you were always so bad about jumping the gun. This is one of the better opportunities you'll have to actually do it right. Wait till they release them both, and then you can have them both. And it's like, that's what I'm going to do.
That'll probably be around Christmas time. I'm sure they'll have that one out.
That sounds bang on, man. Summer release, Christmas time, DVD.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, I'm gonna do the DVD of that too because we've discussed animated stuff. I can't tell any difference. The only difference between the DVD and the Blu-ray is you're charging me more money.
Yeah.
That's it.
And but that's pretty much the jam. Is like, man, go check out Christopher Robin. I think.
Heck yeah.
If you remotely like the Winnie the Pooh character,
that silly old bear,
then you'll have a fun time with it. Even down to getting Jim Cummings to do the voice, which I wasn't sure if they would do or not. That was, and I guess while we're talking about Winnie the Pooh, I think you don't get too much Tigger, because that was a real problem with me liking Winnie the Pooh in the 90s when I was in high school. I mean, Tigger just got this hell of a push, brother, that I was like, why? It was like JBL. Where's this coming from? Why is he getting it?
Yeah, the Tigger.
Why is he the main dude now? Which he it's not that he sucks. Just like he was cool enough.
It's not more useful as a sidebar. Tigger. What Tigger became to Pooh in the 90s is what happened to the Austin Powers sequels. Mm-hmm. The first level of Dr. Evil is perfect, but when you get to the second one and the third one, it's just way too much Dr. Evil, and it's like now you've. Oh man, I can't think of what it is. You hot shot at the territory.
Yeah, I was gonna say Elmo on Sesame Street, but I was proven wrong on that one because they've kept him at the forefront for so long. It's like, So well, maybe they got that one right, but I think they were wrong.
I
think
still don't get it. I'm with you. Still not my guy.
you can kiss it on that one.
Yeah, I don't need Red Grover. I got Grover. I got the real Grover. I'm good. I'm set, man.
Yep. And so that's go check out Christopher Robin. I think you'll dig it and like it.
Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. That sounds awesome. Oh, the other thing about Christopher Robin, sorry, I promise we'll be done in a second, is I'm really happy because I've complained about Ewan McGregor getting killed for his association with Star Wars for many, many years. So it's nice to see everybody back. I still hate that Qui-Gon had to take the dive and do those stupid Taken movies, but it's, dad porn once you hit your 50s. That's if that's what they're going to pay you the most to do, and you're cool with it. That's what you should do.
The Home Alone for a new generation.
It's all good when you're.
How good of a agent can you be if your family keeps getting
It's a good question.
taken? Oh, happened again.
Yeah, seriously. Darn, guys.
Oh,
This is terrible news.
let's use my skills.
I have to leave my job as a greengrocer. Save my family. Like, it's terrible. It's awful. Anyway.
You are the worst. You are the worst taken guy ever.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Whatever it is you are, you're the worst.
You're the worst one. So I'm glad that everybody's back because Ewan held out forever and just couldn't get anything good. But I'm happy that he was in the Miles Davis movie. Which, boy, you talk about one of the most underrated things that's come out in the last 50 years. And it's so crappy because in a world where the music biopic is everywhere and overdone and all the same and universally overpraised. Yeah. Don Cheadle went to the mat to make that Miles Davis movie, and Hollywood, in return, has done everything they can do to keep you from knowing it even exists. Because he basically asked everyone for money, and they said no, and then he did it himself. Yep. So now it's like no one wants you to know it's out there, but buddy, it's good. That is a very, very cool movie, and I'm glad. Good for you, Don. It's weird because I was every time I think of Don Cheadle making the Miles Davis movie, I think about Buck at the end of Boogie Nights when everyone in the donut shop gets killed except him. Yeah. And when I think that should be on the extended cut DVD of the Miles Davis movie, the behind the scenes of how Don Cheadle got to make that movie. It's donut money. It's just like, fine, I'm gonna go open the TK421 store, and then I'm gonna make a movie about Miles Davis. You jerks! Yeah. Try and stop me.
Here's to you.
Here's to you. But yeah, that was cool, and that's the kind of stuff that Ewan did that one, and it's just cool. I'm just glad he's back. I'm really happy that he got to do something so cool because that bummed me out. I'm not a huge prequel guy, but the only thing I dislike more than the prequels is everybody having to suck up to Hollywood after that to get work again. That's crap.
He was in a movie 100 years ago. I want to say it was while the Star Wars horse crap was still going on, or maybe right after. It was like him and Hugh Jackman. I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it was one of those got in over his head in a world that he didn't know was as intense as it was. It's worth doing an IMDb search. Hugh Jackman, Ewan McGregor. I want to say the girl in the movie is Naomi Watts, possibly Charlize Theron, possibly somebody else altogether.
Might be either one of them.
Maybe it wasn't.
This book presupposes.
Maybe she was. But that's one that's worth a look at, and not one of those great movies. I think it got what it deserved, but it's on. I think Hitchcock would have been like, oh, okay, well, that was a nice try.
Yeah, I can dig it.
They tried to do that kind of Hitchcocky kind of turn thing at the end, but like didn't quite make it around that turn.
Veer.
So that's you got anything else you need to discuss or anything?
I don't remember. I know there's a lot of real quick. My boys are back. This is my Everton T-shirt, and Man United played this weekend, so I'm happy about that. It's good to have them back. It's messed up because if you like soccer and you live in America, there is no off season, period, because MLS is going on when Europe is not going on. This was a World Cup year, so even the 10 months out of the year, they jam it over to 11 and almost to 12th. So everybody's busy. Everybody's doing their thing. I love my guys, and it's a lot of fun. But there is something about hanging out with your first love. Mm-hmm. The EPL's my first love. I'm adopted Everton. I was born Man United. There's no need to explain that. It's the truth. And it was just fun to get to watch them. But I was telling Jared, it's such a bummer, man, because I'm in a position now to where I can watch Man United. I have to say it that way now because there's too many Uniteds in my life. I watch Man United pretty much every week, and they're not good anymore. But they're still my boys, so it's okay. Yeah. It's just like, man, if this was 10 years ago, man, if this was 20 years ago, because they were killing everybody then. But it's quite all right. Because when you know that history and you get to hang out in the present, it's fine. It's all good. We had many, many years of killing everybody because we had all the money, and now we don't. And that's okay because, hey, just love your team, man. It's worth your time. What else are we going to talk about? Wrestling stuff. I already mentioned watching the Leon Russell and John Goodman, though. And I'm serious. It really is awesome because he's all strutting around, and it's like, that's Dan Connor. I mean, it's really cool how much he looks like him, man. Oh, shoot. I don't know what it was. I've heard the rumor once again, but I'm going to break my rule of where when I see internet rumors, particularly Instagram rumors, if I only see the picture once, I think it's fake. I got to see it at least twice and then Google it. And I should just Google it anyway, but no, they don't know either. Mm-hmm. But apparently, Kenny Omega versus Pentagon is... apparently they are actually going to do that, which is really good. And I understand that there's a lot of talk about the Super Show. There's a lot of talk about the All In is back up now, which is cute. We talked about it, man. All of a sudden they sell all the seats, and people, well, All In's nice and all, but I mean it's really not that big of a deal. Are you sure? Because if he hadn't sold all the seats, it would have been a big deal. Yeah. But now all of a sudden we want to get back on it and try to make it a huge deal because the rumor went out that Vince was trying to sign Ray Phoenix and El Pentagon, and I don't know if he did. I don't know if he didn't. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But Kenny versus, it'll be cool. But like we talked about it earlier, man. I'm a jerk about this. I'm thrilled the first hour of All In is going to be on WGN because apparently one of the pre-show matches is the Briscoes. Well, dude, if you know me and you know my love of Ring of Honor, Japan, wrestling, that's my favorite guys anyway. So I'm like, well, and I don't mean to be a jerk. I'm sure there's other stuff on the show that'll be a lot of fun, but excuse me, I've done that dumb thing where I try not to learn anything about cards before I sit down and watch them. It's dumb, but it's just way more fun to just... I can't help it. I really
think people are going to be surprised with this, and I think it's going to be freaking awesome.
I'm surprised that people want to get down on it now. It's the same thing with with them selling out Madison Square Garden. Vince is just going to throw all the money at Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and they'll sign them out from underneath, and the tickets are gone. What do they care? Yeah. They've already sold the tickets. What do they care? And it's the same thing with All In. Like, no one cares. We talk about it all the time, man. If you want to know, I'm telling you, I've watched wrestling long enough to know this. If you want to know the primary difference between WWE and literally everybody else, and that includes NXT, WWE and anybody else, when you watch anybody else, they still care about the gate. Not in how much money you make, but in the fact that there are people in the building watching the show. WWE does not care. It is a live television show. You do not play a part. They don't care. It's just a TV show that's filmed in front of a big, big live studio audience. But it's not, we talk about it with the Punjabi prison. That is the most perfect example of all time. If you ever see one of those things live, you won't see anything live. It's made for TV, and it's crappily made for TV too. No one else is going to do that. So it's the actual show. We talk about it all the time, and it's the truth. It's why NXT is so good, because NXT, if you are in the building watching NXT, by God, that's who they're performing for. Yes, there are cameras. Yes, there are backstage segments. Yes, there's people getting right up in your face in the promo talking. But they don't script their wrestling matches, and they darn sure don't build their gimmick matches around, can you see it on the TV? They don't care. If you obstruct the view live, they're not going to do it. That's not something. And that's Crockett. That goes back to Crockett with those stupid scaffold matches. One of the worst ideas of all time because the camera work sucks. Yep. And so it's like that's where that goes back to. I pick on Vince all the time, but that one's not his fault. He just took one of the worst ideas ever and decided to go with it. But yeah, I just think that's interesting. Like, well, if they're not there, no one's going to care. Tickets are already gone. What do New Japan and Ring of Honor care? That's crazy. And also the whole deal about buying out New Japan and all that stuff. Maybe. I'm sure they could monetarily. But why would everybody want to leave home? That's like saying New Japan could walk, or let's use Sinclair. It's like saying Sinclair is going to go knock on the door in WWE and offer everybody big contracts. Because it's Sinclair. They could do it. If we're just talking about dollars and cents, they can spend more than Vince. I know that no one's used to hearing that, and Ring of Honor can't. But Sinclair can. So if they decided tomorrow that was their priority, they could, but why in the world would you want to? That's just dumb. Buying crap just because you can is a huge mistake. Ask Vince, because he's got tons of guys in NXT now that never get any time because you went and offered a contract to people you didn't actually want. You just didn't want the other guy to have them. Or ask Fox Sports, because they do it to ESPN all the time. Ask them if they wouldn't take back whatever they could get for Cowherd or Bayless or what's-her-face, the Florida girl with the blonde hair. They get nothing out of those people. So it's like, man, buying it just because you can is not the best idea.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I've gotten way sidetracked.
I heard it was Justin Roberts, and I don't remember the guy's name. It's from the Busted Open podcast that were talking about it. I was really, I wasn't surprised to hear Justin poo-poo the All In show, because it's kind of that company line deal. But I just really nice to hear somebody's perspective of to being excited about a show again, and it's been a long time since you got to feel that way. And I am old enough to remember the show happening. Wasn't old enough to be a fan when the first WrestleMania happened to really get the history effect of, and I guess you could say the history's been kind of rewritten on that, but that's not what I'm trying to drum up, but who came first, who did what first, whatever. But I think this is going to be one of those moments that people are going to look back to and be like, man, this was really groundbreaking and a fun show, and it makes me tempted to order it. I haven't ordered it yet, and I don't know if I will or I won't, but I'm leaning towards it, because I think it's going to be one of those shows that you're going to be like, where was I that night? Because that was fun.
Well, if Bernard the Business Bear turns out to be that Phillip Brooks guy, then you'll definitely want to see that.
But, yeah.
I'm very excited too. The whole thing of trying to like downplay what a big deal it is. My question, I've asked this several times and have yet to get an answer. So if you guys would like to answer this, please do. If them selling out a 10,000 seat building, hell, if them selling out 15 in Madison Square Garden like that, if it's not a big deal, then why was the bingo hall wrestler such an insult for so long? Mm-hmm. You see, if you hadn't constructed your argument on what makes them minor league on the size of the people they perform in front of, then you'd have a leg to stand on now when you're dissing them for selling out one of those buildings that you play. But now they sold out one of those buildings that you play, so you either have to go back and change your entire idea of the insult, or you just have to eat it. And what's going to happen is if you do the former, people are still going to make you do the latter. It just doesn't matter. Just like what you like.
I think with Justin Roberts, he was just trying, his reasoning and trying to downplay this accomplishment was just totally asinine, ass-10, ass-11, where he's like, well, the internet has done all the work. Like, how?
That's how that works.
And why are you going to discredit somebody for using the tools that they're given? I mean, if they're whoever you want to give that credit to, if you're saying that the Young Bucks YouTube show, if you're saying it's somebody else, I don't know who you're trying to diss with that, but I just think that's a asinine argument to try to make. Well, the internet did all the work. Like, so they did nothing. This just happened. I think that's just going to make you look really, really stupid one day.
That's a really horrible idea to take that tact. Primarily when the reason you have your gig with WWE is your podcast, which I'm pretty sure got out because of.
How do you download that?
The internet. It's like, no. Basically, what you're doing is you're admitting that you're bummed out that your company that writes your paycheck tells you what to say, whether you like it or not. I'll say it for you there, Sammy. Don't worry. You just stay calm and keep blowing out your hair. Dude, that doesn't make any sense at all, simply because you're mad that someone beats your boys to the punch. You see, that's like me saying that cable affiliates did all the work for Vince. Stop blowing Vince McMahon. Stop kissing his ass. He got the cable affiliates. He wrote the big checks in the big markets because his wife told him to. So give Linda the credit if you really want to give people.
She had the foresight
if you really want to give people credit, man, stop talking about how great Vince is and talk about Trump cabinet member Linda, because by God, she's the one that was like, you need we don't need California. The West Coast doesn't care about wrestling. You need California. You need San Francisco. You need LA. Because it's not about the wrestling market, it's about the television market. It's nice to give Linda the credit that she deserves, because she never gets it, but that was her. She was the one that was smart enough to tell you that. But seriously, the exact same thing. But the same people say that there are people that say the same thing about LeBron. Say, well, LeBron's only a big deal because of social media. You're right. It's why he's as huge of a deal as he is.
Yeah.
But the same thing is true with Phil Knight deciding, I want to sell sneakers with this guy's face. He made Michael Jordan. But it's true. It's true, man. People using like modern technology to advance their bottom line, that's human life. And like I said, you're going to try and blame the internet for something that you make your living off of. That's very sad.
It was weak sauce.
That's very weak. That is, I mean, even with that guy who I'm not wild about anyway, because I'm not wild about him because he used to bring Ring of Honor guys on and try and insult them, and it just couldn't do it. Because basically his first argument that really got under my skin was he was basically trying to blame Ring of Honor for like, well, you know, the reason that you can do that stuff and WWE can't is because you guys have more days off, and it's not fair to expect WWE guys to have those crazy matches because they don't have the time off. And you're totally right. That's exactly why Ring of Honor and New Japan can do it, because they actually let the guys rest. The problem is you're saying it like they're the ones doing wrong. It's completely okay if WWE wants to have vanilla matches because they want to have guys on the road 250 days a year, but I know which one I would rather have. It's much cooler for me for the guys to get time off and recuperation, and they can go crazy and go all out. But nobody, despite the attitude, ain't nobody begging WWE to do that crazy stuff. I know you can't do it. I know you can't. But if you want to do fewer dates and have better matches, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That you could try. If you want to do a brand split, give guys off seasons and bring them back in more of a rotation. But the same way you can't compare eras, it's really hard to compare. Don't try to do a one-for-one comparison to All In to WrestleMania 1, but even you can't even compare companies in the same time. So I mean, I'm not trying to build it up too much, but in my opinion, I think this is going to be one of those shows that you're going to want to look back at and be like, man, this changed a lot.
The fact that
I hope so.
The fact that everything in the wrestling business is better for anybody wrestling business adjacent than it's been in forever. And I mean the wrestling business. I'm not talking about the NWO. I'm not talking about a bunch of guys getting six-figure checks that do not care about pro wrestling. I'm not talking about washed-out basketball and football players that knew they could cash in.
Yeah.
But actual people that actually love professional wrestling, not people that wanted to be Goldberg, people that wanted to be Eddie Guerrero. It's never been better. And it's because Vince don't have everything like he used to. Yeah. And Vince never really had he had everything for a nice little minute. But it's just, it doesn't have to be, I don't know why people put Vince McMahon as the only scale. It's like
squeezed through the fingers.
It's like saying if you don't make Walmart money in retail, you're doing it wrong. Are you seriously telling me you would turn down the CEO of Target's paycheck? Because I think you're either not thinking about it or you're lying.
Dollar General, baby.
That doesn't make any sense. It's like there's room for competition. I just don't. I don't understand. The strangest thing about it is this weird obsession that so many of us have. Thanks, Michael Jordan. Of like brand identity. It's got to be Nike or Adidas. It's got to be WWE or New Japan. It's got to be McDonald's or Burger King. That is the strangest thing in our culture. Is that for some reason, if I find out that WWE made more money than New Japan, I act like I won something. I don't understand that at all. I will never get that. And they are, especially when you consider
on the right horse.
They are so different. That's the thing, is they're completely different things. Vince McMahon has told you repeatedly, get offended as you want to. It's from the horse's mouth. It is not a wrestling company. That is not what they do. That is NOTWHATTHEYDO. That's it. It's like, y'all, just let it go. They're totally different things. Those of us that like New Japan and Ring of Honor don't care about WWE. I don't need WWE to do anything to try and make me watch it over the other two. They're totally different things. The only thing I wish WWE would do is drop the leash on a couple of the guys they have that are really good, but that's okay. At the same time, I mean, they're out there all the time, so if you get really good matches at WrestleMania and really good matches at SummerSlam, hey, that's enough, man. They're busy.
Ride you to the next one.
Yeah, they're busy, so take your time, man. That's okay.
That's what's going on with
That's
that.
how we do, man.
We'll see y'all.
Yeah, man.
Bye.